Hello, welcome to our final day of Y'all-Star Skate Showdown. I am Mary Chaos.
And I'm Tally.
Uh, while we do the in-house land acknowledgement, let's introduce our officials first. For this game, our ref crew is Fighting Girlfriend, Effin' Ref, Jekyll and Sides, Anus, Rough Draft, Alaska Blastia, Destruction, and Shrimp and Roll. Our NSOs are Atomic Annie, Dexter, Punisher, Identity Crisis, Blackness Monster, Ivana Rage, Fun Police, Wild Side, Rocket Chop.
And let's meet our teams. Jamming for us today. Oh,
just a small destruction at the production table. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Destruction. Okay, we're back. Indigenous Rising. Number 10, Smackajawea. Number 100, Beast Mode. Number 120, Hawaiian Blaze. Number 1217, Dream Crusher. Number 142, Puppet Master. Number 1492, Mush It Real Good. Number 17, Velez. Number 22, Scara to Death. Number 25, Ruthless. Number 28, Ramby Rhino. Number 35, Fuzzkill. Number 420, Ashtray. Number 44, Tornado Alley. Number 47, Nikita. Number 57, Skates in Circles. Number 614, Karma. Number 654, Goose. And number 757, Small Fry.
And skating for Team Kansas, we've got 0, Zambina, 00, Goosia, 01, Killshot, 1313, Gorticia Adams, 14, Eva Knievel, 15, Mini-Me, 2, Hippie, 22, Harmassist, 41, Myers, 424, Steel, 45, Serial Killer, 47, Baby Doll, 5, Dizzy Aster, 55, BB Bombshell, 605, The Shusher, 9, Nova Klutz, 969, Helixer, and 999, Abella Virus.
Look at that.
We are joined with our producer, Waterboy, gonna help us out here.
Look at our amazing timing. We are pros.
It's almost like we've done this before.
Wow.
Team Florida represent.
That's why they pay us the big bucks. $0.
0. So we're gonna have 424 Steel out for lead real quick. Mush It Real Good is the jammer for Indigenous Rising. Pack is fast. Mush It able to escape around turn 2 on that apex. Indigenous trying to play the fast game, getting up front to try to block the points and protect them from Steel. Calls it off right before entering the third jam. Does pick up 1 point for Kansas. Indigenous Rising kept at 0 that time.
Both teams decide to take the back. Looks like Team Kansas is going to try and lock up that outside a little bit, but both teams are really kind of focused on that inside, either baiting or leaving a pretty vulnerable space there on that outside. Jammers are so far not taking that bait. There you go, Skates and Circles plugs that hole on the outside. Jamming for Indigenous Rising is Goose, and jamming for Kansas is Goose. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, we got a goose battle here.
Angry goose battle. Someone threw the wrong bread. Very angry out there. What is that random yellow piece of paper out there? Hope no one slips on that.
Oh, no, it's there's a hole in the track, so that's to protect the OPRs. It's taped over. Yeah,
Right.
No, this track is rough, y'all.
All right. Team Kansas is bridging to keep Goosia in that lead jammer position. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one's if they get matched up.
I got my gooses backwards.
If they get matched up throughout this game, we're gonna have trouble.
Anyway, 5 points for Kansas. Total, it's currently 5 Kansas, 0 Indigenous Rising.
And in case y'all haven't figured it out yet, Kansas is wearing white with the blue and yellow accents, and Indigenous Rising is in the black jerseys with the red accents. So we've got Killshot stepping up for Team Kansas, and Nikita for Indigenous Rising. And Killshot out for lead jammer as multiplayer block, sending Smackajawea to the Hampton Inn and Suites penalty box. Zero there. Zambina thought they were jumping the apex, was about to cut the entire pack. Killshot back in the pack. Forearm penalty going to send her to the Hampton Inn Suites penalty box. So we're going to have our first power jam of the day in favor of Nikita. Nikita having trouble getting through that tripod of Kansas. We're on the far straightaway now. Another Kansas blocker going to report to the box, which is going to hurt Kansas, help Nikita. Nikita's pivot back in from the box, playing some offense to clear that inside to spring them free. Nikita making their way around now. Kansas splitting up a little bit. Indigenous Rising able to pick them apart a bit. And let's see if that gets... I heard a whistle. I'm waiting to see the call. Okay, yes, so there was a low block called on Nikita for that one. So we've swapped power jams. Now Killshot is on a power jam as Nikita reports to the Hampton Inn and Suites penalty box. Rounding the other apex, about back to the jam line now. Strong tripod from Indigenous Rising, holding Killshot back for a second. Some backwards blocking to try and slow Killshot down. Killshot able to make it through on the apex inside line. Kansas resorting, getting themselves together. Indigenous Rising setting up in the corner, not necessarily where you want to be on a power jam, but they're able to make it work. Got one person drawing back. It's number 2, Scara to death. Scara just holding back. Jammer's going to chill. 2 extra points up for Kansas, or Indigenous Rising rather. 8 on the jam for Kansas, 13-2. Kansas in the lead.
Maybe we won't have goose conflict this time.
Look, if you mess with the honk, you get the bonk.
Yes. That needs to be the motto for the next one. All right, both teams take the front. Both teams coming back here, except for that number 2-2 Scared to Death. Lining up and getting that offense ready, and there you go. Mush it real good. Lead jammer, Indigenous Rising.
That's our first lead jammer of the game.
Major opportunity for Indigenous Rising, obviously down 13-2 and having not gotten lead until now. Gets that pressure to call off. Oh, there it is. 3 go up into the sky. 13-5. Kansas is still up, but Indigenous Rising has eaten into that lead.
Thank you to everyone who's hanging out on the stream for supporting us all weekend here at Y'all-Star Skate Showdown. We still have a few games left in the main division and one more in the open division, the championship there. We're getting back into the bonk jam.
You get it this time.
Yep. Goose versus Goose. Neither one of them have mustaches, which does make me disappointed, but here we are. Goose won of Indigenous Rising. Goose 254, or 654. Really struggling to get those Kansas blockers. Forearm penalty, sending someone to we've got the pivot going to the Hampton Inn and Suites penalty box as Goosia making their way around. Goose had actually gotten the lead, called it off, so no breadcrumbs for anyone.
You did great. And man, this is, I feel like they're pranking the announcers.
Right.
Someone set us up. I love it.
I'm going to bring up the chat just to see.
That's a good
Look,
idea.
if we confuse them on this one, you got to give us a little bit of leeway.
Someone put money down on can they confuse the announcers for the entire bout, and they are winning that bet so far. Okay, there's no gooses in this one. Nikita is jamming in black for Indigenous Rising, but Killshot takes lead jammer. Team Kansas in white. Team Kansas, oh wow, incredible. Team Kansas managed to keep not just the jammer, but the entire pack to that inside. And of course, Indigenous Rising started off with multiple skaters in the box, so that did not help them. Those skaters are gradually being released for their variety of penalties. I believe it was a multiplayer, a cut track, and a forearms. They've got all but one back out, so they can make a full tripod now. That has slowed down Killshot. Killshot says that's enough. Oh, and good news for Indigenous, bad news for Team Kansas. The entire box did release like at the last moment of that jam, so I don't know, maybe that was just a mistiming on the call-off, but Team Kansas will not have that advantage going into the next jam.
All right, we've got the 5-second call and seeing everyone move backwards a little bit. We're going to have Mush It Real Good versus Steel. Multiplayer block right off the top. Going to send Indigenous Rising blocker to the box. Ashtray. We've got a quick lead for Steel. Steel was their top lead jammer in their first game. I didn't get to call the second one, so I'm not sure on that one. Pack speeding up a little bit, coming into turn 3 as Steel is approaching. Little bit of offense from Team Kansas. Indigenous Rising able to protect 2 of their points, but the other 2 going in Steel's pocket. Just tucking that away.
Tucking away Untitled Goose Game. I'm sure it's coming again. Maybe I'm about to draw that hand. 25 Kansas, 5 Indigenous Rising.
Ooh, Valise and the Shusher are playing the pivot line game for a second there. Valise also Team Florida.
Goose, jamming in white for Kansas, but Karma jamming in black for Indigenous Rising. I dodged it. I feel lucky. Both teams doing a great job of defense. Indigenous Rising was forced to start down a blocker and are making it work anyway. Team Kansas down a blocker now as well. Offense coming out. No offense there for Indigenous. So Indigenous Rising's Karma is going to have to push on that tripod. Cold and alone up there. Meanwhile, wow, Gusia looking like, man, I'm gassed. I need a different move here. This is not going to work for me. Team Kansas gets that blocker out of the box. Number 47, Nikita, comes in, throws in some great, number 47, Baby Doll, throws some great offense, but unfortunately doesn't quite work. Carmen now, a lead jammer, Indigenous Rising. Reminder, Indigenous Rising is down 25-5. This is a major opportunity for Indigenous. Waterboy back here says first lead in 3 or 4 jams there. They made it. They got their full 4. All right, 25-9. Indigenous is definitely still in this.
Oh yeah, I think our pack of gooses have split because I believe our other goose is about to do their thing and fly through the pack.
Goose of Mercy.
Goose of Mercy. We got a 2-on-2 pack situation here for Killshot and Goose. That's, I mean, that has its own implications, right? Killshot out first. Goose getting a cut track. Oh, they're going to go sit down in the Hampton Inn and Suites penalty box with only 2 Indigenous Rising on the track right now. Huge opportunity for Killshot to rack up some points. We got A-Team Kansas and Ashtray also coming back in, setting up at the front. Almost got Killshot at the top of the pack, but we're absorbing everyone now. Okay. Penalty box is emptying out. Killshot able to break up Indigenous Rising. She is her own offensive player today. Just fearlessly going into those seams and pulling them apart. This time, Indigenous Rising able to walk her to a line and just bow tie her out of bounds. Little bit of a run back by 4-2-4. No, it must have been 4-2-0. I must have read the number wrong. Couple points for Kansas on that pass. So 14 points total for Kansas, 0 for Indigenous Rising. 39-9. Kansas in the lead right now.
Tough jam for Indigenous Rising, but I see all skaters on the... Oh. Looks like an official timeout.
Would you like to tell us about Crash Course during this Crash Course timeout?
You know, I would love to. if I can find. Here we go. Crash Course helps busy roller derby athletes increase strength, conquer self-doubt, and create the habits of high performers to become all-stars and MVPs on the track and in life. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Visit ChrissyCrash.com to learn more. Life is a contact sport. Win.
Getting mixed up for a second there on the goose situation.
Yeah. Luckily, the goose numbers are not the same number. That would be terrible.
That would
If it was like 100 and 00, something like that, then we'd really be bonked.
Don't give them ideas. They'll come back. Geese always come back.
with a vengeance.
That's right.
So 5 out of the last 6.
5 out of the last 6 have gone to Kansas. Rydell, step into the action with Rydell roller skates, where passion meets performance. Trusted by skaters for generations, Rydell continues classic craftsmanship with cutting-edge design. Discover your perfect pair now at roller.rydellskates.com. Rydell, built for derby, made for you.
Our official timeout was just making sure that the penalty trackers and penalty box were all lined up. There was a little bit of activity in the last 2 jams, you know.
Jamming in black for Indigenous Rising, Nikita versus Steel in white. Nikita leaps out of the back for Indigenous Rising. Indigenous Rising lead jammer. Major opportunity right now. Not only does Nikita have lead jammer, but also one blocker is in the box after a cut track for Team Kansas in white. Indigenous Rising has such an opportunity here. However, Steele has gotten out and has that opportunity to place pressure on Nikita, who's being told to call it. Oh, just in the nick of time. There's the ref's hands. 3 points going to Indigenous Rising. Kansas held to none.
Got Mush It Real Good stepping up for Indigenous Rising. Having some jokes. I believe that's Gusia taking the line. We haven't seen the shusher out for Kansas yet. I'm hoping that we get some jam time from her because she was fun. Yes. Mush It Real Good. Rotating those tripods. Got a little bit of offensive help. Kansas want to beat, I think that's Serial Killer, who has been killing it all weekend. She is her own pack. And thought they got her out of bounds. Yep, Serial Killer did. Gonna kill the hopes and dreams of Mush It Real Good on that moment. And Mush It's gonna report to the Hampton Inn and Suite penalty box. Power jam in favor of Team Kansas. Gusia escapes on turn 2, is making rounds. We've got a little sausage link action waiting for offense. They let Goose hit before attacking. A little recycle back there by Hawaiian Blaze. They are trying to sticky block Serial Killer, able to come in and get them off of Gusia.
I'm not sure our screen can really show it, but I think Mush It Real Good got a double penalty, unfortunately.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that they did. I'm pretty sure she was issued the second penalty for not exiting the track.
We were discussing at the announcement previously, hypothesizing, where does the shusher's name come from? Is she a librarian, a moviegoer tired of loud people in the movie theater, or tired of loud men? And I'm not going to, I've spoken to her, and I know which it is, and I won't ruin it for you.
Oh, no.
I encourage
Now
you.
I want to know. Hey, you want to talk about Killshot?
All right, in this power jam, Killshot is, of course, a lead jammer for Team Kansas. Unfortunately, Indigenous Rising was unable to lock up that jammer as you want to do. All out, best defense of your life. Interestingly, though, Team Kansas decided to take the back here during the end of this power jam. We've all seen it now. Mush It Real Good has served that double penalty. This has been a very impressive ref crew, but they've also been calling that improper procedure for exiting improperly a little more aggressively than I'm used to, and man, that has been a more common call in this tournament.
I really want to make a comment about that.
As long as it's positive.
Right.
Great
So basically, I'm glad to see Fighting Girlfriend's crew calling it correctly.
Oh.
And I will leave it at that. The NSO crew has also been very integral to making sure that penalties and safety of skaters and gameplay is proceeding properly. They're doing great.
12 points scored in that power jam. for
Goose
Kansas.
and Steel. So the power jams haven't gotten us back to the Goose Jam. We will. I know we have to. We have to have it back. Everyone's fighting. Little bit. Scar almost had Steel out at the top. Steel out for lead jammer. Goose now making their way on the outside line around Kansas as the pack sped up. Steel coming in for a scoring pass, a little bit of offense to try and break up the tripod. The wall of butts kept her at bay for a second. She did manage to grab 2 points, rotating around as they were calling it off. So DQ 9001 was asking how tightly they're calling some of these failure to exits. Honestly, having officiated a fair bit, I think they're calling it as tightly as they should be. Like I think that they're hitting the metric pretty good throughout the weekend. So that's cool. In the past, Y'all Stars has very much been seen as a learnament for officials, and this year we have a lot more anchors throughout the cruise. It's become a very Y'all Stars has a great reputation of being an awesome community, and everyone wants to be here. I think they said they had something like 60 people applied to ref, and just as much on NSOing. So,
Well, it paid off. I mean, the reffing has really been. There were a couple calls that, as an announcer, you don't announce ref mistakes. You see things happen all the time. You're like, that was a cut track. And you just keep that in your brain, and you don't say it at all.
Yep.
And there's been several times where I felt that, trap close where I was going to have to not say it, and the refs got it, and I'm like, wait. I'm allowed to say this now. It's been impressive.
yeah, there have been twice where I've called the penalty as the ref was also issuing the penalty. I know I need to wait a little longer, but I also knew they
Risky.
had it.
Goose,
And I heard the whistle.
Gusia creating a threatening situation for the announcers where we may have been in a double goose situation. Nikita relieving that fear for us here at the announcers booth, jamming for Indigenous Rising, and we appreciate you. Nikita also taking a lead jammer for Indigenous Rising. Opportunity knocks for Indigenous Rising. And look, Indigenous Rising. Indigenous Rising. Hey, all right. Indigenous Rising managing to push Gusia all the way to the outside, then gets dragged by her blockers to the front, gets caught by a 2-wall and pushed back out once again. Very impressive. Nikita still lead jammer, but now fighting, trying to get through. An excellent tripod, gets pushed to the outside, gets a run back. Will that run back get defended? No. Oh, so all right. Unfortunately, Gusia getting forced all the way back and is going to get through that entire pack again. Nikita getting run all the way back and is going to have to get through that entire pack again. All right, now Gusia getting run back. We are working our way backwards on this track. We decided to switch derby direction, I think, here. Nikita coming in for that scoring pass. Some great offense by Skara allows Nikita to just kind of scamper past. Now gets into a 2-wall situation, though. Way up front, one-on-one, gone. Huge jam for Indigenous Rising.
Awesome. Love to see it.
8 huge points for Indigenous Rising as gems go in this game. That is absolutely massive for Indigenous Rising, and obviously if they can repeat that performance, they're going to win this one. So do not count them out. 56 Kansas, 20 Indigenous Rising.
Scar to Death, absolutely anchoring that tripod group, able to hold, and her teammates are doing a great job of recycling up to meet her and help. So we have got Mush It Real Good and Kill Shot. Mush It almost out for lead, realized that she stepped out of bounds, so she will get recycled back by a Bella Virus. Now on the outside line on turn 2, able to make it through. Kill Shot, little bit of off balance on the toe stops, decides I'm just gonna call it off. I'm kind of off balance. I'm just gonna keep it that 0-0.
4 leads out of 5.
I appreciate in the live chat someone said, "Give us what we want, gooses."
Yep.
Oh, you want to hurt us. I appreciate the challenge. Honestly,
It is
that's the
so
first time I
funny
couldn't do it at all.
what the chat will hang on to. Sometimes it's shoes, sometimes it's geese, sometimes it's Pokemon.
I understand. Steel versus Goose. You guys tried to do it to me once again. Steel trying to kind of sneak along the inside. Wow, that is incredible strength and agility. I mean, we've seen a lot of jammers try to pull that in this tournament and just get absolutely flattened to the inside of that track. Steel just shoulder punch fights the entire way and takes lead jammer. Incredible. Goose, meanwhile, has been run all the way back. Stuck now with this 2-wall, finds it to the outside, sneaks to the inside. Pack becomes kind of a mess. Goose definitely has an opportunity here, but Steel falls down over her own blocker, and that. I'm sorry, their own blocker.
This floor, if y'all didn't know this floor is incredibly sticky when you're trying to plow stop and incredibly slick when you're trying to use your toe stops. It's awful all the way around and full of dust. So I do not blame these folks for going, I have lost my footing and it's going to take me a second. Let me just call off the jam and reset my brain and my feet.
Yeah, I keep hearing skaters give us dust ratings for the day.
It's Nikita and Gusia. Gusia getting a small run back by Indigenous Rising. Nikita almost at the pivot line, and Serial Killer says no. Gusia fighting that tripod, trying to slice up that tripod, pick them apart, and using the avian aggression to get through on the second turn there. Nikita, hat is off. We're getting the Michigan J Frog sign from all the OPRs, so I guess the hat has been passed. I cannot see the pivot's number, and neither can the scoreboard. Oh, it's Sacagawea now. It's Sacagawea. Got a multiplayer block sending a Kansas blocker to the box. She is being followed by number 22, Scar to Death, who apparently got a direction of gameplay. I could tell because she was doing the something stinks motion in front of her nose. Only 2 points up on the board for Kansas. That Indigenous Rising tripod just able to rotate around, keep her at bay. We're going to reset 63 Kansas, 20 to Indigenous Rising.
Shoe fly, don't bother me means directional. 63 Kansas, 20 Indigenous Rising. Both teams take the front, both teams skate back. Both teams missing a blocker. So they've just got that tripod. You break that up at all, and there it is. Both teams aware. All right, both teams have leapt out immediately. Bombshell just barely takes that lead jammer position for Team Kansas. Obviously going to give Kansas a little bit of an edge, but not much. They are on top of each other. Mush It Real Good is not giving up a centimeter here. If you score, I'm scoring. And, some of Kansas took the back. Oh, and it's a hot mess.
I didn't realize we switched to USARS for this jam. No one told us. That was also Bombshell's first timeout jamming.
Yeah, Bombshell did great. That's a fantastic.
Apparently, she's a speed skater because that's what happened.
USARS. 2 points for both teams. Everyone gets to have a great time except for everyone in the middle of the track.
I was going to say except for the NSOs, or the OPRs, rather. Because like I said, this is not an easy floor to stop on, so I just can't imagine the drop-off situation here. We got a Chrissy Crash official timeout, and I'm just going to say crash course. Go check it out. Google. Life is a contact sport. Win. We're going to get back in here real quick. You want to call this Goose?
Oh, I can call this Goose.
You can call this Goose.
Killshot takes lead jammer. Amazing dance to the inside. Kind of runs up. Sidestep, toe stop, flying through there. Cuts on through. Meanwhile, Indigenous Rising has to pass to Karma to place pressure there, and that was absolutely successful. Very well done on that pass. The past 5 jams have been lead jammer going to Team Kansas. 2 points going to Team Kansas. Indigenous Rising has 23, Kansas has 67.
Team Indigenous Rising giving the no, you get back on the track. Little confusion at the top of the pack. 5 seconds is called. We got a little rollback. The pack is starting out very spread out. They're not taking up their space. They're letting the jammers from Kansas hit and kind of separate them out. But they're doing a good job catching that. Scar to Death, first time she is out to jam. She's been blocking and just keeping people back. Steel already out for lead jammer, though. Pack is getting fast on the far straightaway. Only 2 Kansas blockers to beat. Small barrel roll, like you do. Scar to Death, hat stash, puts it back on to try and score some points. Steel's going to tap the hips as she's sneaking by. 3 points, Kansas, for that one. 0 for Scara. Hi, Crash and Crash.
The live chat asking for more USAR, so
yeah.
I'll see what we can do.
Needs more Goose.
These teams may give it to you whether we ask for it or not.
We've got one of the geese coming up.
70 Kansas in white, 23 Indigenous Rising in black. Nice jammer on jammer defense to start here. Don't see a ton of that. Gusia jamming in white, Nikita jamming in black. Gusia looked like Gusia looked like they were going to find it to the outside, but could not quite do so. Nikita now has an opportunity to take that lead jammer position, has some offense to the... I don't know if it was confusion or what, but it felt like, Gusia got an arms call.
Arms?
I'm sorry, Nikita
me?
got an arms call, not Gusia. My bad.
No, arms? Oh. It's not RDCL, my dude. Forearm.
All right. So now only Gusia can score for the next 30 seconds. It's a Team Kansas power jam. Nikita sitting in the box for that arms call.
At least you didn't say hands.
The hands call.
The hands call on 2006.
Spirit fingers call. Comes to an end. Nikita is released from the box. That power jam has come to an end. Gusia continues to have lead jammer position, but look at what Indigenous Rising has done here. Excellent defense, has completely locked up Gusia. Look at that score. Indigenous Rising has to be proud of that. I mean, that's the power defense that you want there. That's pretty impressive. If they can keep that going, this is still anybody's game. Gusia now, though, is able to kind of make just a chaotic situation in this pack, getting offense, creating even more chaos, is slowly finding her way to the front here.
Awesome.
Indigenous Rising did a pretty amazing job of recycling there. I mean, everyone was falling off the track in every direction, and they still managed to keep getting out in front. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Ashtray doing a lot of good work out there. Same with Sacagawea. They were supporting Ashtray throughout the little bow ties back and forth. Oh, welcome, United Kingdom. Hi.
4 points for Team Kansas in the end there. Very impressive score to limit them to, given the power gem situation.
We've got an official review being called by Kansas. Would you like to tell us about Crash Course while I get nosy about what the officials are talking about?
Ready to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Tired of second-guessing your training routine? Want to feel more confident when you step on the track? Then Crash Course is for you. We turn skaters into MVPs. If you started Crash Course today, in 4 weeks, you'll be less tired at the end of a 2-minute jam. In 8 weeks, your footwork will get you to the line faster. And in 12 weeks, you'll be the skater that everyone wants in their pack. Life is a contact sport. Win.
So here we have the two geese. On my team at home, we have 2 crashes. So we have it kind of rotates between Crash and Crash 2, and I call the one Crash Back sometimes because it's Crash Bangacooch. So BAC, Crash Back.
It's a good name.
It's a good name. And Crash Gordon. And let me tell you what, that there are times I'm seeing people falling all over. I'm like, oh, Crash would really fit in. One of those people you're like, oh, that's how you got that name. Oh, okay. I love the like Mardi Gras alligator. I don't understand. I don't know the mascots down here, but doing the little head pat, little spreading the Mardi Gras family friendly. It's one of our announcers up there. Right?
I love New Orleans. I've never been here for Mardi Gras. I didn't know I was coming for such a nerd fest. It's been fantastic. There's so many nerdy costumes. Chewbacca's last night was a bunch of I saw a Chewbacca in a racer pod fighting another Chewbacca with a lightsaber, surrounded by a jellyfish towing a Borg cube, with Borg dancers dancing to electronica music in the Borg cube. Fantastic.
I think I just had a stroke.
I didn't understand the last 30 seconds of it. Call stands, flight loses a review for that.
In sub on Black Jammer. Yeah, so I was wondering if they were going to review that or not. The White is going to lose the review, but they were asking for an insubordination for failure to leave the track on the Black Jammer. I understand why the Black Jammer had been hit to the inside and cut across the track in order to get to the penalty box, but I'm assuming that no one had good enough eyes on it to issue. But in the meantime, Goose flying through the pack on their migratory session, coming to approach back. The pack has not really moved out of the first turn, so they are able to reestablish lead and points up for Indigenous Rising. This is their first lead in maybe 6 or 7 jams. Dizzy Astor taking the star for Kansas, able to cycle back up. They're going to hit the pack. Indigenous Rising going to run it a little bit, see if they can either draw a penalty or just hold a pivot turn jammer.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an excellent strategy to run up points, running it long, especially after the Haddis pass, because even if they do score a couple points, you, in theory, have one blocker in that pack that isn't used to blocking and already might be a little bit more tired because they've been jamming. Here's a replay from the very start.
The highest score jam for Indigenous.
This was our highest score jam for Indigenous. Goose just grabbing the seeds.
Actually, highest score jam.
This is actually, this is the highest scoring jam for the game. 16 points on that jam for Indigenous Rising. Before that, it had been Kansas at 14 points. So we're going to go to intermission.
16 huge points for
16
Indigenous
huge
Rising to
points.
close out the half. Very
Huge.
impressive. And we will be back in a little under 12 minutes.
Thank you.
Tui Line here, and I'm here to ask you if your helmet is cooked. Whether you're on the derby track or at the skate park, your helmet has one job: to protect you. So let's check out your helmet together and find out if it's still doing its job. Look for the following signs to determine if the EPS foam in your helmet has deteriorated. 1. Physical cracks or deformations. 2. Soft spots. 3. Discoloration. 4. Separation from the shell. 5.
Because we don't have house. We don't have house sound in, so somebody's going to have to just say what's happening.
Okay, you got it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just whatever's happening in here, like which team.
Let me get some stats for y'all while y'all are doing that.
We were just kidding about being back in 12 minutes. We're actually doing the Juniors Awards right now. I'm going to do my best to pass along what's going on with no information, but we're working on it. MVP blocker, Princess Leia. MVP Jammer, Chupacabra.
Come on, Cabra. Sorry to wake you up, but you want an award. Cabra. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You just waking up. She's trying to just Congrats, Cabra. All right. This award is the Sportsmanship Award. And it goes to, from the True City Daredevils, Ruella DeVille.
Sportsmanship Award. I believe that was Ruella.
Between all 4 teams, all the games for juniors all weekend long. Representing Tomorrowland, the Slytherin. With the overall award, Slytherin also wins a gear package for some of our great sponsors. So you can get it. It's all here for you. You don't have to worry about that. It's all there for you. We do have some extra awards here. All of our award recipients will receive an awesome gear bag from our friends at AAA. Unfortunately, we don't have them all here, but we'll bring you I promise. I'll put the pin on this for a second. B-side coaches and captains, you are meeting for your meetings or captains meeting right now. B-side coaches and captains to your captains meeting at the captains meeting area outside of turn 1. Alright, congrats to all of our most valuable players in our junior division. Alright, now we want to pay a special tribute and honor to our junior standings who have gone as far as they can go in junior division according to the rules, because they're going to age up and move on up, hopefully to play in our adult leagues. So if you are a senior, junior, if you are a graduating junior from the under 14, come on up here. Coming up by me is our trash and my fun police here. Thank y'all so much for being a part of Junior Roller Derby. We wish you all the best as you move on with your progression over the continue with the sport, move forward, and you're going to do great things. Thank you all very much. After y'all are done with it, I'm going to hand the mic to y'all and say name and what name you're with. We need more. Are they not here? I need my aging out juniors. Come on, all of you, wherever you're in the building, come on. All of our juniors who compete here who are aging out of the junior division. Any more aging out juniors who skated here this weekend? Come on down to center track. Now we can take our pictures. Now I'm not loud. Where's the microphone? All right, so I'm going to hand the mic. Start over. Don't move. Yeah, if you have a teammate who's not here, when you get the mic, go ahead and say their name. I'm going to start right here and move on to say their name, who you're skating with. You can take a victory lap around the track after you say it.
Do what? You're welcome.
All right, I would also thank you all so much. We're going to get back to action here in our current game shortly.
Stats up there.
Thank you very much, juniors. Everybody involved in the roller derby, y'all are amazing. Keeping the sport alive, keeping the generation flowing. All right, before we get started with our second half here for Indigenous Rising versus Team Kansas, I am P. Armageddon, your tournament head announcer. I'd like to read a statement here on behalf of the tournament. Red Stick Roller Derby Juniors, Team Louisiana, and the All-Star Southern Showdown team would like to acknowledge and pay tribute to the Indigenous history of Thibodaux, Louisiana, as part of our responsibility to recognize, honor, and affirm Indigenous culture, history, and experiences. This tournament is taking place on the ancestral lands of the Chitimacha and Homa people, and we would like to recognize the communities native to this region. This includes the Adai-Caddo Indians of Louisiana, Biloxi Chitimacha Confederation, Chitimacha Tribe of Louisiana, Choctaw Nation, Coshada Tribe, Four Winds Cherokee Tribe, Muskogee Creek, Pointe-au-Chien Tribe, Tunica Biloxi Tribe, United Homa Nation, and others whose memories may have been erased by violence, displacement, migration, and settlement. We recognize the history of forced relocation by the United States government of many First Nations from their ancestral homelands to our region in the late 18th century and throughout the 19th century. Thank you.
Thanks, PR. We appreciate you.
That was PR Mageddon, our amazing head announcer who has somehow kept this whole thing together. Head announcer sounds like, oh, you just, there's like some announcer guys, it's not a big deal. Don't really have to do a whole lot. It is unbelievable how much work he's had to do in order to keep this
I mean,
ship afloat.
there are a lot of us toddlers that he's had to wrangle, I'm just saying. All right, we're getting back into it. It's going to be Goose versus Steel. They did not reset the Goose pack. I'm kind of upset about it. But Goose, getting recycled back on Team Indigenous Rising, as Steel has already made it out for their initial pack. Still in that first apex, Steel able to bait and switch, get through on the outside line as Smackajawea comes in and tries to play some offense for Goose. Goose only has 2 more to beat at the top of the pack. Serial Killer gonna do that run back. That gold helmet I can see from miles away, just going backwards and bringing sadness with them for the other team. Steel hopping past the inside line, does not stick the landing, but luckily they were already ready to check into the Hampton Inn and Suites penalty box. So now we'll have a full 2-minute jam. Goose with a little pass. Smackajawea now. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Small Fry. I am so sorry. They were on the other side of the track, and I just saw the 7. So this is actually Small Fry. The 7 that I thought was a 1. I apologize, honk sadly. It is true. But we have Small Fry coming back around as Steel is released. 2-minute jam on that apex now. Kansas making a smooshy pack. Small Fry able to survive, just needs to get past Serial Killer, which, that's a thing. Friends have come back up from Kansas. Kansas is a very friendly state. They're just wanting to all meet Small Fry over there in the other half of the pack, other side of the track. Steel busting in, spinning hips, grabbing 2 more points. 9. We got 4 on the jam for Indigenous Rising, 14 for Kansas, bringing us up to 94-43.
Everybody gets some points in that jam. Indigenous Rising. We're going to see what they can do in this next one. Team Kansas decides to take the front. Everyone has their blockers out of the box. That power jam has come to an end. Mush It Real Good jamming in black for Indigenous Rising. Kill Shot taking the jam for Team Kansas. We had some stats earlier from the lovely Waterboy letting us know that Kill Shot is actually the highest scoring jammer of Team Kansas so far this bout. And there it is, taking off to chase down Mush It Real Good. But Mush It Real Good has taken the lead jammer for Indigenous Rising. Oh boy, that was a tough fall. I'm glad everyone's okay there. Mush It Real Good getting kind of knocked to the outside, 1 point, but still it's something, making progress there for Indigenous Rising, 94-44.
This floor is an absolute cheese grater, so I do not envy anyone taking the falls. My hands are all cut up from falling and pushing myself up. I know that it can also be remedied by staying on your skates, but sometimes that's just not possible.
Is it textured? Is that?
It's textured, yeah.
It's not polished.
It's not polished because this is a rodeo area. So, yeah, thus also the dust. So we're back at it.
Flies. The grit.
Nikita versus Gusia. Nikita in the back, trying to gain a little space. Gusia getting knocked out of bounds. Small recycle back. I don't think that there was an established position, but no pass earned. Getting signaled, so Nikita still has an opportunity to grab lead jammer. Indigenous Rising going to try and play some offense and speed up that Kansas pack to bring them into the corner. Gusia now hopping back and forth. Getting defended there by Beast Mode, Scar to Death, and Belize.
Wow.
Long bridge. So long that the camera could not see the top of the bridge. Able to get out and get lead now is Nikita. So I'm guessing they're going to try and she's going to try and get some points and then call it before any more is issued. Forearm penalty going to send someone up. We've got 120 Hawaiian Blaze. They're going to sit down in the Hampton Inn and Suites penalty box. But we also have a late penalty for Goose. Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, yeah.
98 Kansas, 47 Indigenous Rising. Complicated situation there with that no pass, and then getting lead, but not having the opportunity to really score yet, as Kansas was scoring. Indigenous Rising did make the most of it. Kind of an unusual defense there as well by Kansas, trying to stop Indigenous from getting that lead. It wasn't really a tripod. It kind of broke up into like three skaters in succession, and ultimately I think that did help.
A conga line, as you were.
A conga line you could dance to Hey Ya, so it's perfect.
Yes.
That's nice.
We are in a team timeout right now, so thank you to Crash Course.
Crash Course helps busy roller derby athletes increase strength, conquer self-doubt, and create the habits of high performers to become all-stars and MVPs on the track and in life. Want to make 2-minute jams feel easy? Visit ChrissyCrash.com to learn more. Life is a contact sport. Win.
But does she increase flight speed versus air velocity?
Will she help you survive a cheese grater floor?
That is the real question.
Do coconuts migrate?
The Battle of the Gooses is on, and you were right. The power jams are why. Only the Indigenous Goose can score for these 30 seconds. It's an Indigenous Goose power jam. And Indigenous Rising has one penalty against one of their blockers, a forearms penalty, and so that may hold back the efficacy of this power jam. One-on-one situation right now for Goose. Pushing as Goose, comes in. But nonetheless, the original Goose, OG Goose, has taken lead. Jammer has the opportunity to score. The power jam is over, but Indigenous Rising can't score right now. Oh, we already have hips fast hips. We definitely have points on the board. One-on-one and gone. Skater already out of play. Time to end that jam. They're 4 in the sky off the ref. That's got to feel good for Indigenous Rising. Meanwhile, 2 points go to Kansas. Triple-digit territory. 100 points. Team Kansas, 51 Indigenous Rising.
You know, I'm going to say something that, since I'm not on house mic again, I think they should have run that. I think they should have run that. The Indigenous Goose had some good momentum, and Indigenous Rising was holding back Heya, so I don't. Anyway, we've got Mush It Real Good versus Steel. We got some down low blockers against Mush, keeping it low and slow like good barbecue. Steel using the inside line. It appeared for a moment, and she just phased right through it. Meanwhile, Mushid getting recycled back a little bit, tapping on her teammates saying, help, you do this, you do this. Kansas wall split up a little bit, but an outside blocker able to recycle. Someone did get caught in the fray of that, however. Gonna sit down in the Hampton and Sweets penalty box is a Kansas blocker. Steele coming through for points, mush it real good. Now trailing pack speeds up a little bit, resets into two separate packs in turn 3. Steele comes in, Steele steals 1 point, and calls off the jam. It is 105-51 in favor of Team Kansas.
I'm glad to see the live chat has embraced the Indigenous goose. We're making waves here.
It's a beautiful day in the village, and you are a powerful jamming goose.
105, Team Kansas in white. 51, Indigenous Rising in black. No geese in this one. Kill shot, jamming in white. Nikita in black for Indigenous Rising. Indigenous Rising doing a great job of bringing kill shot all the way to the back. Kill shot certainly a threat here, but Nikita has taken a lead jammer and 2 penalties. Send one of each team to the box, meaning the Hampton Inn Suites penalty box, meaning, we just had a penalty rescinded. Whew, things are getting complicated out there. Nikita still lead jammer, I can tell you that for sure. Killshot now has raced Nikita down. Nikita trying to decide what to do. Okay, so 2 penalties now have held against Indigenous Rising. The one against Kansas was rescinded. So, unfortunately for Indigenous Rising, they didn't score any difference in points there. Everyone got 4, and they're about to start this next gym with 2 blockers in the box.
Yeah, that's another one where I would rather, I would have rather run it a little bit, try and get my blockers out, because the Indigenous Rising jammers are excellent, and they are able to pick apart these Kansas walls sometimes. So try your luck, and if you can't, then you call it before the next pass happens. Anyway, we've got BB Bombshell for Kansas and Goose for Indigenous Rising. They split our geese up again. The flock has been dispersed. Goose going back and forth, comes up against Baby Doll, who stops the momentum. Flight path is stopped. BB Bombshell trying to get around the Indigenous Rising pack. We got the tripods are holding and then knocking out and then just swapping back and forth. There's a lot of, it's a stretchy pack. It's a very stretchy pack. We got some out of plays. We got more out of plays. We got a lead jammer for Goose.
First time that BB is jammed.
Yeah, this is the first time BB's jammed this half.
Yes.
And we've had a lot of Indigenous Rising leads. We've had 4 in this jam. And we have passed to the shusher. The shusher. Little pant whip by the Goose, which I think is a move in Untitled Goose Game.
Second star pass.
This is the second star pass of the half. Shusher coming into the tripod and taking everyone with her. Indigenous Rising resetting over there in turn 3. Kansas stretching out a little bit, gaining some speed with Goose, able to stay up against Serial Killer and pull them out a little bit. Now only one more to beat, but it is a grind. It is absolutely a grind. And we did have a multiplayer get issued on Myers. Thank you, Waterboy.
Overall, a great jam for Indigenous Rising. Picking up more points than Team Kansas. Everyone scored, but Indigenous Rising took the edge there. They also drew a multiplayer penalty right at the end, those last 5 seconds that we kind of had to wait out as both jammers really were just kind of gassed. That lack of energy resulted in a penalty, as it sometimes does. And so Team Kansas has just the 3 out there for their tripod and no one to fill that gap. That may give Indigenous Rising a little bit of an edge here. Mush it real good. It's going to do her best to make that happen. But meanwhile, Steele has been an incredibly effective jammer for Team Kansas, chasing down Musha Real Good, who's taken a lead jammer, Indigenous Rising. Indigenous Rising, wow, has spread that back out into a hot mess, allowing Mush It Real Good to fly by. Jammers love one-on-one, and that is exactly the gift that Indigenous Rising gave their jammer. What a fantastic job. Beautiful roller derby out there by Indigenous Rising. 4 points scored in that jam. None for Kansas. That's exactly what they need. 111 Kansas, 67 Indigenous Rising.
We've got a team timeout for Kansas, a very well called team timeout. Indigenous Rising has gotten 7 of the 6 of the 8 lead jams in this half. So a testament to the blocking of Kansas. It's almost like they've been taking Crash Course. Crash Course helps busy roller derby athletes increase strength, conquer self-doubt, and create habits of high performance to become all-stars and MVPs on the track in life. You get custom training plans with specific workouts, nutrition strategies, athletic mindset development. You want to level up this year with epic coaches? Visit ChrissyCrash.com to learn more. Life is a contact sport. Win. Yes, to have 6 of 8 lead jams, but still only getting maybe I'm doing quick math. 8 and 8, so 16, 24 points total. Still getting outscored by Team Kansas. It just what was that?
It's not a goose.
I was so distracted by math.
We need to start using actual spreadsheets. We do so much math over here.
Oh my
Gusia is jamming in white for Team Kansas. Wait, is this your jam?
Go. Just talk, Callie. It's okay.
It's a single goose situation. Thank my goose. Nikita is jamming in black for Indigenous Rising. Still a penalty against one blocker. A directional in this case for Team Kansas may give Indigenous Rising. Oh, and a forearms call against Gusia means that only Nikita can score for the next 30 seconds. It's an Indigenous Rising power jam.
Goose, you're going to hang out at the pool at the Hampton Inn Suites.
That's right. Gusia enjoys all the different breads and other high-carb, high-starch diet elements of the Hampton Inn Suites Continental Breakfast. Nikita is going to try to make the most of this power jam. And right now, one-on-one defense. Wow, Team Kansas was able to lock up that jammer one-on-one. Dizzy Astor, props to Dizzy Astor in that one-on-one defense. That is a very rare situation, especially throughout this tournament and the high skill level we see out here. Not a lot of one-on-one success. Typically, these jammers just pick you apart and make you regret it. So very impressive on Dizzy Astor's part. Nonetheless, Nikita is still lead. Jammer still has an opportunity to score. Gusia, high speed. I mean, that was a fast lap around that track to try to place pressure. The pressure was applied, but nonetheless, good on Nikita. 4 points scored for Indigenous Rising, 111-71.
Again, another power jam, but only 4 points scored. Kansas just putting in the work and keeping Indigenous Rising back, just able to slow them down and manipulate their energy to push out of bounds, doing the good recycles. Even when Kansas splits apart, they're not too far from their friends. And Goose and Killshot. It's Goose that's lead, had snuck through on the inside line, right off the line, got that designation, pushed out of bounds, and that gave Killshot the opportunity to escape. Indigenous Rising hanging out at the back. Let's see if Goose called it off in time. But no, Killshot able to swipe. It is brave to try and steal things from a Goose. It is brave. And Killshot got it done.
The Goose remembers.
Mm-hmm.
114 Kansas, 71 Indigenous Rising. I see friends tallying me in the live chat. I appreciate that. I'm not going to put my user handle into the chat. I feel like that's weird while I'm announcing, but I do see you and I love you too. Steele jamming in white for Team Kansas gets a Oh, gets a penalty and goes to the box. Mush It Real Good is lead jammer. A lot of confusion now in the pack while they figure out what is going on. The answer is that Mush It Real Good is both lead jammer and being skated all the way back.
Yeah, there it is. Yep. So I was going to say it's kind of odd that the jam ref didn't issue the cut for the jammer trying to have a conversation. Because that's not playing derby and that's not seating.
Yeah, but I have learned not to point those mirrors out. But it has been corrected. So now a cut track by Mush It Real Good has released Steele from the box. Steele did have that penalty, but now is hitting the track without lead jammer. And of course, I'm sure you figured it out at home, this is going to be a 2-minute jam no matter what. We had lead established, and it is gone. Mush It Real Good sitting it out just for as long as Steele was sitting, but man, Steele has made the most of that limited time already, putting points on the board, already coming back around, and I'm sure saw Mush It Real Good exiting on that next lap. Mush It Real Good gets launched to the outside on that turn, almost ends up inner bench. Steele takes another penalty and unfortunately goes back to the Hampton Inn and Suites. That continental breakfast is just too dang delicious. And so, Mush It Real Good is the only one who can score for the next 30 seconds, assuming there isn't another penalty, making it an Indigenous Rising Power Jam.
That was the second high block for Steele.
Yeah, those were back-to-back in the same jam.
Yeah.
Tough. Complicated situation there. So 6 points go to Kansas, 4 points go to Indigenous Rising. That penalty is still being served, meaning that Indigenous Rising is about to start with a power start.
For anyone to have stuck in the box, though, like, Steele's a pretty good option.
Absolutely.
You know, we got an official timeout being called. I think the officials are going to come in and have a little conversation.
This is a Chrissy Crash Course timeout, but I'm also going to mention some other sponsors since we haven't given them many reads. Let's mention Kaywood and Rendazzo's Bakery, Currency Bank, Rydell, RES Contractors, Collectivum Sports, Sacred Roller Skate Supply, Synergy Bank, Lamar Advertising, Symmetry Jewelers and Designers, AmeriHealth Caritas Louisiana, and Bont. I know we have another list here.
We do. So thank you to our captain sponsors. Oh, you just read the captain sponsors. Never mind. How about the crowd sponsors? Roll One, Allstate Haiti Agency, Nearby Notary, Creative Counseling and Wellness LLC, and Raising Canes. Yeah.
Need to make your event or brand stand out? Poster Giant has you covered with expert wild posting, media buying, and guerrilla marketing services. From creative design to bold installations, we'll make sure you're seen. Visit postergiant.net to learn more. Let's create something unforgettable.
Kansas just swapped out their line for a power line. I don't know if it's an official power line, but seeing who they put out there, that's a power line. Because they've got Baby Doll, Serial Killer, I believe, I just blanked on their name. Dizzy Astor might be out there. Dizzy Astor is pivoting. Yeah, that's, I don't want to jam against that line. That would, ow.
I'm no biologist, but Serial Killer seems like natural enemy of the goose.
As long as it's not the puffed rice, you're good. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Or Alka-Seltzer.
We're about to find out here.
Okay, so the officials were, I'm just like overhearing the bench coach talking. The officials were apparently just making sure that everyone was cool. I guess some things were getting riled up, so they were just giving everyone a second to collect themselves. So Nikita out there jamming now. Only 2 seconds left for Steele, so she is already back and engaged in the fray. Pack is swirling around, moving into turn 2. Nikita trying to find some space, also taking up a hole so that way Steele couldn't get through. Nikita now trying to follow her blockers through the pack, and Steele able to get out first on that inside line. Nikita trying to come through. Yeah. Steele is one of 3 lead jammers this half for Team Kansas. They'll recycle back on Steele as Nikita is back up against that 4 wall that is just static. They're just able to hold. When one gets removed, another falls into place. Like I said, this is a power wall. This is a let's sad place and ruin a day.
Why it's surprising that they're not running all these jams.
Yeah, it's almost like a prevent defense at this point, where it's okay if we don't get a lot of points. We just need to make sure that they don't. But also, Kansas isn't being mean, right? Like, they're not trying to run up the jam. They're not trying, they're just trying to play good roller derby. Turn the mic on, Tally.
A little less than 11 minutes left in the game. And Kansas playing the way that I love to see roller derby teams behave. Instead of saying, let's go for 300, they're limiting the points of Indigenous. And here comes Indigenous anyway, doing a great job. Goose is out there. Lead jammer, Indigenous rising in black. Kill shot, struggling up there. Wow.
We've got
just barely makes that turn, though, and dances to the inside. Kill shot now placing pressure on Goose to call it. Also, Team Kansas taking both a cut track and a directional. So now 2 members of Team Kansas going to the box for this next jam, and Indigenous Rising has done it. 8 points on the board, and Kansas is going to have half their blockers as we enter this next jam.
I just want them to choose. Are they going to go for all the points, or are they going to... They not. There have been a lot of very late call-offs, not from the refs, but hitting the hips later than one should to prevent points, and it is. I just want to see them do good, y'all. We've got Mush It Real Good and Gusia Mush It out, continuing the trend of lots of lead jammers for Team Indigenous Rising this half. Gusia getting run back. Moving that tripod up. We're just getting past the pivot line and into turn 1. Kansas gaining speed and splitting up. So points have been earned, but there's still just one more to beat. Eva Knievel can't hold Mush It Real Good back. Gusia now has the star off. Getting some hit out there by Ashtray. Ashtray's another one who's been all over today. Just doing work. Mush It Real Good. Use her own teammate for a second, as if she were the sled. So, thus the name, I suppose. The pack. There has been a star pass. The Goose has been contained, and Eva Knievel is now going to dare her way through this very difficult Indigenous Rising pack. Kansas beating it up. Kansas does well with the fast game. Like I said, Ashtray just took advantage of the speed. We've already done a full pass as people are trying to get their points. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so we get three more for Indigenous Rising, 1 for Kansas on this one. What were you giggling about over there?
Well, first of all, we've seen a lot more of that. I'm just going to use my blocker as a battering ram.
Yep.
Or I guess here in New Orleans, I should say a Bourbon Street parade.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of that move in this tournament that I don't really see it much in roller derby. It's really funny to me.
Really? I love it. It's just I'm sorry for this, my friend, but you are the sacrificial lamb.
Exactly. 125 Kansas, 94 Indigenous Rising. Indigenous Rising has done a great job of tightening up that point gap, but Kansas is turning the afterburners back on here. Kill shot has taken a lead jammer. Nikita, though, has already gotten out and is able to place pressure. Killshot doing a great job of just immediately scoring those 4 points and calling it off immediately. A very tight jam as opposed to some of the jams that have been kind of looser. And, you guys asked for more USARs in the comments. I think you got it the previous jam.
Indigenous Rising kind of caught left looking at, you can see it right there. They got split into sausage links. They weren't able to get the tripod back together. Killshot saw it and just split the middle. So we've got Goose and Steel. Goose, again, using, here, you go first, and I'll sneak by you. Did not have success on that one, but Steel also coming up against that difficult wall. And so we've got two butts there. It's Ashtray and Smakajawea being kind of wrangled by Scaria to death. Scara to death, really. Two hard tripods. Kansas getting split up in that far turn, bridging out too far. So, but not earning lead. So Goose able to cruise through, like flying south for the winter. And now, hat is off. Steel probably didn't realize the lead was still open. So we're going to have a 2-minute jam. That pivot is not happy right now. Doing the work. But Shusher going to get knocked out of bounds, come back in. And we got a cut track. There was a Indigenous Rising blocker with superior position. Shusher did not realize, casually came back in. Gonna go sit down in Hampton in Sweets penalty box as the pack is drawn out further again. We've got two Indigenous Rising joining in the penalty box, however. Serial Killer released, coming back in. Indigenous Rising was able to slow down the pack. Kansas speeding up again, trying to make it long. We're getting the helmet taps from the OPR, but Jam Ref knows that it's a 2-minute jam. And with that, let's see the final roundup. Kansas not making their initial pass, which I don't know if that's happened at all so far, where they didn't even break. And
a little over 4 minutes left in the game. Very complicated jam. 11 points go to Indigenous Rising. Team Kansas ends up with, that situation where the lead.
It hasn't happened.
We've got a team timeout from Kansas. This is a great time to take a crash course timeout.
Yeah, everyone needs to just review what the heck just happened there. The lead getting eaten like that. I don't think I've seen that much this whole tournament. It's not just this game. That was a weird one.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. It doesn't happen a lot, but it's not uncommon.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
All right. Roller Derby Athletics, Roller Derby Coaching, Derby Girl Designs, Urban South Brewery, the Station NOLA, and Concussion Roller Derby are all great sponsors of Y'all-Stars Southern Skate Showdown. Oh, and Chapman Consulting. I apologize, it's kind of left off the end of the list there. Raising Cane's is also a sponsor, and I don't know if there was just a call to action here or what, but I have seen people eating a lot of Raising Cane's at this tournament. That stoop is pretty much the Raising Cane's sitting outside and stuffing my face with chicken zone.
Hey, it's better than the other alternative that I won't name that's next door.
Oh, yes, true.
Yeah.
Way to pull that sponsorship from them.
Ha-ha.
Killshot is jamming in white for Team Kansas. Karma is jamming in black for Indigenous Rising. Karma, lead jammer, Indigenous Rising. Unfortunately, a directional against Indigenous Rising has them down a blocker. May hurt this situation. Oh, never mind.
It was Kansas.
That penalty was actually for Kansas and not for Indigenous Rising. We had the switch on the board. Meanwhile, 3 points assigned to each team. So unfortunately for Indigenous Rising, or fortunately for Kansas, that chase down worked. Points did not favor Indigenous Rising in the end. They're 129 to 105.
That was the first time we've seen Karma Jam.
I was sorry, 132 to 108. I was reading the replay.
No, it's fine. All right. Nikita and Gusia. Nikita coming up against Serial Killer and Baby Doll. That really tight tripod. I have a feeling they probably play together a lot. Meanwhile, Gusia attempting to get past Ashtray and Fuzzkill. And we've got Long Pack, just one to beat. Serial Killer has to let Nikita go. Meanwhile, we're stuck in turn one. Just everyone is in Gusia's way. Serial Killer trying to be helpful.
Nikita got a foul.
No, thank you. Nikita actually went to the Hampton Inn & Suites penalty box, which is why everyone's paying attention to just one person on the track, except for me, apparently. Gusia is actually lead. The penalty must have happened as Nikita was exiting the track. So now Gusia on scoring pass, gonna swoop on through. And coming around, Nikita closely following Indigenous Rising, signaling to each other to get together, trying to knock Gusia out on the outside line, but just using that navigation system that is internal to make it through and get to her destination. Little truck and trailer, and now a tripod from Kansas. We're back at the pivot line now. And Nikita almost. Failure to reform, gonna send Baby Doll to the Hampton Inn & Suites penalty box. Serial Killer going to escort Gusia through the pack. Just a little, give me your hand. Let me help you. All right. And with that, Kansas putting some space. Indigenous Rising was starting to close the gap, and Kansas said, okay, well, I guess we got to get serious again.
Yeah, and the overall arc of the game, for a little while, Kansas was basically double Indigenous Rising score. That is certainly not true anymore.
No.
But the absolute point gap has more or less rested between 30 and 50, and that 12 points kind of ate that opportunity for Indigenous for a little bit. Goose has a lot of work to do. Fortunately, Goose has a lot of support over here from the announcer's booth. Unfortunately, what does not have a lot of support is all the penalties that just happened. Wow, there's a lot of red on that screen. Steele jamming in white for Team Kansas against not many skaters left on Indigenous Rising. Goose is one of the skaters that's still out there, fortunately, with that star on their helmet. And so Goose has an opportunity to place pressure.
So we've got, so there was illegal contact being issued. I am not sure who is going to be reporting to the box. Oh, it's Scar to death, which makes me sad. So that's going to be Scar's 5th penalty. Indigenous Rising has 32 penalties in this game, and Kansas has 26. It's a little high. It's not the highest I've seen, obviously, but
one skater in penalty trouble.
Yeah, but it's the unofficial score, which I didn't. It's like, and oh wait, no, that's the end of the game.
And we're done.
Never mind.
148, Kansas to Indigenous Rising 108. What an amazing game! This has been a blast. So yeah, thank you, Waterboy, for giving us everything, all the stats and all the love. I am Mary Chaos.
I'm Tally. Thank you to all the announcers and all the staff that made this possible, and of course the skaters who somehow got up in the morning and skated their tails off starting at around 8:30 every day. I barely was able to talk for a period of time at that time of day, and you guys went into a full contact sport. That is amazing. I believe this is my last time on the broadcast for this tournament, so thank you so much, everyone. I'll be on the in-house one last time, and then I'm off to New Orleans for a last night out there.
I think you'll hear me again on the final game. We've been doing some switching around. I was on the final game, and I wasn't. I might be back on the final game. So you might get to hear my dulcet tones while Team Canada is playing Black Diaspora.
Listeners probably want to know when that is. I believe it's 4:40 for Fuego versus New York.
Yep.
And 6:30. These are Central Time.
Central Time.
For Black Diaspora versus Canada.
And coming up next, we've got the final game for the Open Division. It's B-Side versus Villain Era. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi folks, Tui Lion here, and I'm here to ask you if your helmet is cooked. Whether you're on the derby track or at the skate park, your helmet has one job: to protect you. So let's check out your helmet together and find out if it's still doing its job. Look for the following signs to determine if the EPS foam in your helmet has deteriorated. 1. Physical cracks or deformations. 2. Soft spots. 3. Discoloration. 4. Separation from the shell. 5. Age. Helmets should be replaced every 3 years depending upon usage, even if they appear to be in good condition. 6. Unusual odors. Let's move on to the outer shell and consider your previous impacts. If the helmet has been involved in a significant impact, the EPS foam could be compromised even if no visible damage is apparent. If the strap adjusters, clip, or straps are compromised, your helmet placement might be compromised if you take a fall. Last but not least, if your helmet doesn't fit you properly, it's not going to do its job when you need it most. Your helmet should sit about 1 finger width above your eyebrows and stay put when you're moving around or shaking your head. Visit 888.com to find out about our cutting-edge helmet technology and designs. The most certifications, the latest technology, the best fit. We've got you covered.